The most destructive organizational forces rarely shatter the rules. They use compliance, composure, and a professional exterior to weaponize the system from within. Behavioral profiling identifies this phenotype as Subject N, a high-functioning, status-protected manipulator operating exclusively within professional gray zones. They leverage undeniable credentials and institutional hierarchy to build an architecture of absolute control. They turn the very structures designed to protect a company into tools for personal dominance. This is an operational threat model designed to protect institutional integrity, not a clinical psychiatric diagnosis. Neutralizing a threat that hides behind competence requires mapping their psychological architecture from the ground up. A misinterpretation of this profile systematically destroys team psychology while leaving the perpetrator legally and administratively untouchable. Subject N processes interactions through a strict hierarchy of utility. People are useful, irrelevant, or obstructive. Self-worth relies purely on a feedback loop of competence and dominance. Connection is replaced by the need to win. Control acts as the pressurized brace keeping their identity intact. Any challenge to that control or exposure of inconsistency registers internally as a severe, destabilizing threat to their core self. Their immediate internal reaction is a profound irritation, masked externally by a hyper-calculating drive to quickly reassert dominance. Standard corporate mediation fails because it requires both parties to surrender a degree of control, a request Subject N processes as a direct psychological attack. They protect their vulnerable core with a public persona that appears impeccably calm, highly articulate, and fiercely objective. They reinforce this shell by stockpiling elite credentials, mastering technical complexities, and delivering undeniable bottom-line results. Behind closed doors, the performative warmth vanishes. They become cold, selectively attentive, and dismissive to anyone who isn't immediately useful. All aggressive behaviors are carefully calibrated to remain within deniable gray zones, meticulously avoiding blatant misconduct or loud arrogance. Their primary tactic relies on technical ambiguity and hyper-precise language to dominate discussions, leading others feeling permanently uncertain of their own footing. This perceived professionalism is weaponized camouflage, designed to ensure that if a victim ever complains, the victim is the one who looks irrational. When managing subordinates, Subject N manufactures dependency by alternating between intense mentorship and cold intimidation. They cement this dependency through strict information control, compartmentalizing data to ensure subordinates cannot function independently. Their approach to peers is one of quiet, competitive undermining. They refuse to collaborate unless it immediately advances their own institutional status. Upward, they perform strategic respect for high-level authority, aligning with the top to cleanly bypass mid-level leadership. They rely on cognitive empathy to accurately diagnose people's emotions and find leverage, while lacking the emotional empathy to feel distress over the harm they cause. For Subject N, every relationship is conditional and deeply transactional, carelessly discarded the moment a person's utility completely expires. When Subject N's control is threatened by public questioning or a denial of authority, they initiate a specific sequence of defense protocols. Intellectualization serves as the first layer. They instantly drain all emotion from a conflict, retreating into a flat tone. They then deploy strategic silence, applying intense psychological pressure until the victim begins to over-explain and doubt their own argument. If forced into a corner, they utilize blame shifting and narrative control, calmly reframing the timeline of events to redirect responsibility onto someone else's misinterpretation. This feeds into strategic gaslighting, doubting the victim's competence, challenging their memory, and their emotional stability. These defense mechanisms are offensive weapons, meticulously designed to systematically exhaust and disorient anyone who attempts to hold them accountable. The true danger lies in the silent, ongoing psychological erosion of absolutely everyone who finds themselves trapped within their radius. The macro-level damage becomes visible when evaluating Subject N within the broader institutional ecosystem. Left unchecked, they become increasingly rigid and isolated, masking a trail of damaged relationships behind their protected institutional status. Early warning signs include a pervasive feeling among staff of being slightly wrong, endless one-sided conversations, and a constant need to second-guess your own perceptions. The risk lies in the systemic damage executed while appearing perfectly calm, objectively correct, and justified. This personality type cannot be changed, cured, or rehabilitated. The only viable response is containment. Engaging in emotional confrontation or expecting genuine empathy are operational errors that guarantee failure. Survival begins with establishing brutally clear, highly specific, and rigorously documented boundaries that remove all operational ambiguity. Communication must be exclusively short, factual, and neutral, refusing any urge to over-explain or justify decisions. All interactions must remain in observable, documented channels to neutralize their ability to use private behavioral shifts against you. Success requires neutralizing their greatest weapon, your own emotional engagement. By relying purely on facts and structure, you contain the threat and secure the system.